Okay. Hello and welcome to Top Cut and Quarterfinals, where we are facing off against RickyRister, champion of last month's tournament, who is playing Black Red Reanimator, basically the exact deck they won last month with. So, in the creature slot, Audacious Rough Rider, Ignited Soul, and Rooftop Slink, as creatures that allows them to discard cards, including Privilege Escalation, their reanimation target of choice, Shigana Manor Burns for discard and value, and then the reanimation spells are Reclaim the Fallen and Enduring Loyalty, Fester Effluvium for graveyard filling in value, Final Fate as removal, as well as Terminal Impact. Certainly a scary deck. And we are going to be on the draw from now until finals, because every single player left in Top Cut has a higher seed than us. Let's look what we got. We have okay, not a perfect hand. Turn 2 Shigana Manor Burns, curve into Redeemers and Yenses. Do I keep this? I think I do. Abominable Avalanche is quite good against a lot of their discard outlets, and I can't actually beat their reanimation. Speaking of the devil, Rooftop Slink. Okay, and I draw a tap land, which I should probably just use immediately to get it out of the way. Go get a forest. In case I draw a roar, I would like to have at most one mountain. My first discard is Spore Spawning. I prefer not to discard Avalanche, I prefer to use it. Yeah, Ricky brings up Spore Spawning, which is going to be a key card in this matchup. Key thing about Spore Spawning, if I get a sufficiently large Spore Spawning, which doesn't look like it's going to happen this game, usually requires Reaper of Blossom for that to happen, I can actually survive a Privilege Escalation. That's like Lead Privilege Escalation, I sack down to no permanents, and then I Spore Spawning back up to like 13 creatures, and I actually can get out of that. Are they going to make us discard? They are. And it's a Privilege Escalation, okay. Okay, but we get some reprieve, just a tapped Sanguine Palace, meaning this Rooftop Slink cannot flip next turn. Very good to know. Tap land is quite awkward here. That might just end up getting discarded. Actually, quite likely that it ends up getting discarded to Rooftop Slink here. Play and crack Primal Fissure while we can. Run out Shigane Manor Burns. Normally, the more I've played this deck, the less impressed I've been with Shigane Manor Burns, which, for how hyped this card was pre-launch, this deck just wants to be assertive so much of the time. You don't have much play for Shigane Manor Burns. Yens is a reasonable play next turn. Their removal is not unconditional. Final Fate cares about mana value and Terminal Impact about toughness. So a sufficiently large Yen Slope Skidder can be tough for them to kill. Of course, they do something like run out an Ignited Soul here. I could just avalanche both of them. So they hit me with Rooftop Slink and make me discard its Buffer Reconservatory. Then I get Shigana Manor Burns trigger. I actually don't know if I'm planning on discarding. I guess it depends what I draw. We discarding? Wow, okay, yeah, they have Reclaim the Fallen plus Escalation in their graveyard, so once they get to 4 mana... Wait a minute, actually, do they have any instants? They have no instants. So if I run out Redeemer of Hollowed Flesh here, they actually have to exile one of these two cards and they don't get reanimation next turn. unless they have another copy of one of those two cards. Urban Jungle. Counter on Shigana Burns. Discard? I think I. The thing is, I want to play Redeemer so bad that if I don't hit a land off discard Urban Jungle, yeah, I think it's no discard. Which, is a thing that happens a lot, I found, with this Shigana Burns. Redeemer? Exile one of those two cards. That actually stops the reanimation very funnily. Yeah, that had to be the play here. I was thinking on it. To be clear, if they don't have a face-up discard at next turn, they can't attack with Rooftop Link, I'll just block. And if they kill my creature, that doesn't leave them enough mana to also flashback or reclaim the Fallen. Although obviously not good for me if that happens. They're really thinking about it. I imagine you exile. Okay, it's reclaim. I think also like escalation gives me the 1/1. The 1/1 I think is more valuable than the +1/+1 counter that I get here. Does that make sense? And like their only way of killing this is untapped land terminal impact. Otherwise, I get to keep this Redeemer. The fact that they tanked there implies to me they don't have another Reclaim the Fallen or Privilege Escalation in hand, otherwise the choice would be pretty obvious. You discard the one that you have an extra copy of. Mm-hmm. Right, look. I've reached not the last, but like I think second to last of my Arrows in the West card backs. This is one of the inversions, the red one, the Mythic Rare. Cool piece of art. Glad to show it off here. What is my opponent tanking about? Like, pre-board, they don't have a ton of things they could be doing here. They don't have double red, so they could be sitting on Audacious Rough Riders. They could have terminal impact that they're thinking about. Stuff like that. Could be land flip rooftop slink. Would be annoying, but I'd survive. They might be thinking that they want to put a card in their graveyard somehow, so they have something to feed to the Redeemer. That's certainly possible. But I mean, they don't have a great way of putting something into their graveyard except for chump attacking with Rooftop Slink or casting a removal spell, which at this point would need to be Terminal Impact because Final Fate doesn't work. This is a 3-drop. Oh yeah, and sorry for the delay since the last video. We are actually playing in an extension, so we're actually slightly over the deadline for quarterfinals. Although there's only 2 more matches in the tournament after this, so we should get done the tournament in time, no problem. I was actually at a Laufey concert. It was lovely. Certainly the best dressed crowd I've ever seen at a concert. Boy, Ricky is really tanking. Really, really tanking. What could be in Ricky's hand that they're thinking about? Could be Ignited Souls and Rooftops, like more 1-drops. Could be Shigane Manor Burns's. Could be Festered Effluvium? Oh, Final Fate. Wow, Final Fate for no value. And not playing a land. That's really... Okay. Let's think through what that means. Sorry for those pings. Okay, let's think through what just happened. Ricky just Final Fate for no value. and didn't play a land, crucially. So they can't reanimate next turn because they could. If Rooftop Slink survives and they attack with Rooftop Slink, um, then they could. There's two reasons to do this. One, it gives you something to feed to Redeemer. Two, it gives you a way to kill the Redeemer. Now I have two options. I can either Avalanche the Slink, deny them a discard outlet, or I can play again Slope Skidder, possibly even following it up with a land, although I probably won't, to just apply more pressure to them. So let's think, what isn't, there's no lands in their hand. We know that. There can't possibly be a land in their hand. There are no, they didn't play a 1-drop with their last 1 mana, which I think they probably would have. Probably no Ignited Soul in their hand. There could be another Reclaim the Fallen in their hand. There could be a Terminal Impact in their hand. There could be more Final Fates in their hand. It's all spells. They have no lands. I think I'm not super concerned with Rooftop Slink. Here's the thing. If they exile Final Fate to Redeemer, that kind of indicates they're going for the reanimation plan, and then I'd want to Avalanche their Slink to prevent them from getting a discard outlet. But if they don't, if they exile Privilege Escalation, then I think they're going for a mid-range plan. I'd rather apply pressure with Yens. Here's the thing. If they get Privilege Escalation, I can lose this John Air Burns and Treasure. They're not that important to me. And then what? This is 5. This is 7. This is 5. This is 6. 11 total. And then I can flashback Spore Spawning for a big pile of 1/1s. In other words, I don't even know if I particularly care about Privilege Escalation at this point. Let's play Yen Slope Skidder. Where does the counter go? Counter goes on Yen's, the one that doesn't die to Final Fate. What do they exile? Could be either one, honestly. And they could like land flip Rooftop Slink, but they're just going to die on the ground if they do that. They can't. That can't be their plan here. Ricky is also commentating, by the way, so you could go watch Ricky's perspective after this to see what Ricky is tanking on right here. Ricky's really thinking, yeah, you keep Privilege Escalation, you leave open the door to Reanimation on a future turn. That's exactly what they do. Wow, that Final Fate did not get a lot of value. Well, I'm going to attack them for 9. So they could reanimate next turn. If they hit with Rooftop Slink, they need to draw untapped land, play it, and then discard another Reclaim the Fallen, and then they could cast it. But they would need a pretty specific sequence of hand and draws for that to happen. I mean, another thing, they need to hit a land. I don't know, that seemed like desperation to me. Like they're playing to the reanimation that we know they didn't have last turn. Right. Okay, they found the land. That's step 1. That was their draw for the turn. They hit with Slink. They discard Reclaim the Fallen. Well, they do have it. Okay. Let's think sinks 1-3. I think I can go to 1 here, right? This is 5, and this is 6. That's 11. I go to 2. 2 is better than 1 here. Yeah, I could have avalanched on my prior turn to prevent exactly this line, but I think they needed something really. They need a really specific draw for that to happen, and I'm still not dead here by any means. I draw a Spore Spawning. Wait, oh no, I'm not. I am dead, right? Because if I avalanche. Oh right, because they can flip Rooftop Slink now. Oh, I didn't think this through. I misplayed so bad there. I needed to sack Gen Slopes Theater and save of 2. Oh god. Because I slapped that Spore Spawning, I make a bunch of 1/1s, but they can turn Rooftop Slink into a 2/2 flyer. Oh boy, what a mess. Okay, really sorry guys that I beefed that one that hard. Okay, it's not that bad. Slink, Avalanche 1 and 2 to you. Start of combat, you have to exile it. But yeah, obviously I could be in a lot better shape here, or I could cast Force. And then I'm gonna plan is double block Yens plus Soldier, and then threaten lethal back with Redeemer, possibly plus Burn Spell. Obviously they have Terminal Impact in their deck, which would kill me here. But that was. Yep, that's GG. Okay, yeah, that was just fully a misplay on my part. On to game 2. So, there's a weird kind of leveling thing that happens here. They have Crucible the Burning Sun. But as they side in, they're doing the transformational sideboard, where they bring in all of these creatures in Crucible and bring out all the reanimation stuff. I can bring in Sensor Tablet, and I probably should. Ricky bringing up Sensor Tablet. The question is, do I side out my Spore Spawnings because they might have Crucible? I want at least 2 Sensor Tablets, and I think I can trim Shigata Mana Burns for it. Spore Spawning is important enough to me. I don't want to cut all of them, but I think I should at least cut some of them. For Cash Thrasher, which is actually pretty good against them. I think this halfway measure is my best option here. Oh boy, one tough decision that game, which is like going for the Yens line versus going for the Abominable Avalanche line. Could have easily seen like Avalanche left me with fewer ways to lose that game, and then just the straight misplay of not sacking the right things to privilege escalation. Tough beats. Tough beats indeed. That's a third sensor tablet. Hmm. Cash Asher is pretty good against them. Their only good blocker for it is Rough Rider. Although does die to normal Final Fate, which is not ideal. Could keep in a Spore Spawning. I suspect they sided in Crucibles here. That's my read on them. In which case, Cash Thrasher. Whew. Tough game 1. Really tough choices there. Could have even mulliganed that hand, by the way. That would have easily been a reasonable play there. Hmm. Yeah, I guess like I had the wrong read on them. Like the way they tanked on what card to exile to Redeemer really made me think they didn't have an extra reanimation spell in hand. But either they did or they drew one the following turn. Okay. Turn 1 Huskforger, turn 2 Reaper, turn 3 Yens. No disruption for their reanimation, but I think I have to keep this. Meandering Path, Huskforger. And next turn I can at least start paying. I can let's turn like have Reaper as my effective 3-drop. Reaper plus pay for Reaper. They got Swamp and a 1-drop. Ignited Soul. Makes sense. I'm not never gonna have a way to block that next turn. Ooh, Huskforger. Yeah, Huskforger is yeah, Huskforger is in fact better than paying for Reaper. Crack this for Forest. I could even double block Ignited Soul. It's not a crazy play at all. Mill 2 lands in Aurora. Actually would have been a very pretty good game for Aurora, but es ist besser. Sorry, no, c'est la vie. Wrong phrase. Do I double block their Ignited Soul if they attack? I think I do. I don't really need second Huskforger that much, and they could easily really need Ignited Soul. I only have um, two Spore Spawnings in my deck, so this Reaper might not do much for a while. Also, this is the turn. If they play like an Exorcist, that indicates what their sideboard plan is. Ricky is once again tanking, which I don't blame. It's quarterfinals. Ricky going for 2 GP wins in a row. Always an impressive thing to try for. Double block. Completely willing to trade here. Even like it could help them hit land drops. It could discard final fates. It could do all sorts of things that I don't want them to be able to do. And like that Huskforger was not doing much for me. Like next turn, it was letting me pay for a Reaper of Blossom's trigger. That's just not that important to me. I'm still hitting my land drops for a while. They play their Temple of Origins. And they should on me. Okay, so they still have a discard outlet. In fact, next turn they could still. No, they can't. They can't reclaim the fallen next turn because they can't discard 2 different things. Redeemer! Redeemer's pretty good. I kind of like setting up Redeemer. I don't know. It stops them from, like. It makes it hard for them to keep stuff in their graveyard with Shigana Manor Burns. Okay, if I play Jens, how much am I attacking for? It's 6. Jens is attack for 6. Redeemer doesn't attack this turn, but it could next turn. And then I shock an Urban Jungle to pay for a Reaper of Blossoms trigger. I think getting Redeemer in play is worth something for me. Especially since I get a 1-1 out of it. A 1-1 is not nothing. I still get to attack for 2. I'm going to shock in this Urban Jungle for Reaper trigger. I'll pay for an Urban Jungle. Oh, and there's an Avalanche in there. Could easily get into Avalanche territory soon. And then next turn I can crash in for a lot of damage if Yens follow it up with a land. Okay, they get Reanimator burn, so they can discard something here. But with Redeemer in play, like, they need to set this up pretty quickly. I guess they could have like a removal spell, like a Terminal Impact, to give them something to feed the Redeemer. The discard Privilege Escalation, hit Shigana, Mana Burns, and Mountain. I assume it's just going to be Mountain here. I think they need to put another card in their graveyard, because they clearly discarded this because they want to keep it there. Also, they did not do the transformational sideboard. They're still on the Reanimator plane, so I should probably still have my my graveyard hate in. How much am I attacking for next turn? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11? I'm attacking for 11 next turn? Minimum? Next turn I'd probably play Buffery Conservatory, not Urban Jungle. Pass on the Reaper of Blossoms trigger, so that I have access to level up Buffery Conservatory in case I need that little extra damage. But if I draw something like a Husk Forger next turn, I probably do play it, just so I get to 5 mana for Avalanche. So what's Ricky thinking? Discard Privilege Escalation doesn't mean they have Reanimation in hand, by the way. They do that no matter what. I mean, they always want to discard this card. It's not worthing anything in their hand. Primal Fissure from hand. Getting Swamp Prism. Also, that means they're not playing this Mountain. Are they playing this Shigana Mana Burns, or are they playing neither? Primal Fissure is a card in Graveyard for Redeemer. That might be why they're doing this. They can't play Mountain because they need a card in Graveyard. And they are playing the Shigana Mana Burns. Okay, so a Reanimation spell next turn is quite possible. Oh, things are happening. They only get. Why do you have? Oh, they put a Shigana Mana Burns from hand, Shigana Mana Burns from exile. Cool. Terminal Impact. So that makes things interesting. Okay. It's pretty clear my play is Yen Slopeskater plus Buffery Conservatory, put 2 counters on the Soldier or something. Hit for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's think this through. We could also wander Yens this turn. That would get us to, if they give us a treasure off of Primal Fissure, which is pretty likely. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They go to 7. They bring back Privilege Escalation next turn, but that's all they do. I keep Soldier, 2 life. Redeemer, 5 life. That's only 7. And then I can attack them back with 2 3-power creatures. That puts them down to 4, and then I kill them with Terminal Impact. So Reanimation does not get them out of this. Do I wander Yen Slopeskitter this turn to get Avalanche? I think I do. I think I might. In that case, I want to shock in Urban Jungle, not play Buffery Conservatory. Buffery Conservatory is less important because I have Terminal Impact as a way to convert my mana into damage. So Yen's Jungle. Redeemer gets me a treasure. Post-combat, wander Yen's. Avalanche. Yen's. Counter on Soldier. Shock in Urban Jungle. Counter on Soldier. Start of combat, Redeemer trigger. They exile Primal Fissure, presumably. If they don't exile Primal Fissure, then I guess they could have an extra Privilege Solution and an extra thing in their hand. It's not like the end of the world for me, though. I paid 2 life for Urban Jungle for no reason then. I still think I can have lethal on the backswing, even without the Avalanche token. Because the exile Privilege Installation is probably because they have an extra one in their hand. Nope, they exile Primal Fissure as expected, although it's interesting to me that that was a decision for them. Attack you with everything for 11. To go to 7. Wander Yen Slopeskidder. Comes back. Counter on Soldier token. Good to put stuff on the Avalanche trigger and Reaper Blossoms trigger. There's a Spore spawning in there, too. That's nice. Because that's Spore spawning for 8. Don't think I'll need it. They can go ahead now. They get a bajillion Shigana Mana Burns triggers. 2 discard triggers and a ping trigger. I presume that between all these discards, they are going to find a reanimation spell, but that's not enough. I keep Soldier. I keep three 3-power threats. That's Soldier, Redeemer, Yeti. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's I only pay 9 life to that, so I don't even die to follow up terminal impacts. A comfy 7. Then through their potentially 2 blockers, say they reanimate plus they play an Ignited Soul, they block 2 of their creatures, get hit for 3, take 4 off terminal impact, and die. So I think I've locked this up pretty good, unless they have something like, I don't know, discard Reclaim the Fallen, play Reclaim the Fallen, play 2 removal spells. Discard another Privilege Escalation, hit Terminal Fester Effluvium. Fine by me. Fester Effluvium is a way they could, like, miracles their way out of this. Fester Effluvium can do that. They have to resolve the second Shigana Burns trigger before they cast any spells. Thinking on the second one. I mean, as it stands, even if they don't know about this terminal impact, their privilegization is just not enough here. Keep this, and this. 1 blocker, 3 attackers, any 2 attackers are lethal. Not true. Redeemer's not lethal. But I keep Yen, Soldier, Yeti. In that case, any 2 attackers are lethal. Discards Mountain. Okay, so they can play 1. Okay, they can't play Enduring Loyalty. That costs bajillion mana. They can play 1 of Impact and Effluvium and 1 of Rough Rider and Loyalty. They have access to 5 mana, at least, possibly 6, if they have an untapped land in hand. They could play Rough Rider. Yeah, this looks like Feathered Effluvium to me. No, it's Reclaim the Fallen from hand. They have 1 card in hand, which could be... It can't be a land and a creature. So, sack, sack. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Go to 7. They could play a land, but then they can play what? Terminal Impact for 1? And they're just... Okay, that doesn't actually help it anyway. I have this giant Spore Spawning hanging, but I don't need it. Beginning of combat, Redeemer trigger. Or if they give me... It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what happens. It's Exile a Mountain, giving me a treasure. I attack with all. They block Soldier, go to 1, and die to Terminal Impact. Take 6. Pew! Okay. They kept in the reanimation. I want Sensor Tablet number 3. And I can trim Cash Thrasher for that. It also means I probably want to bring in... I want to keep in an extra Spore Spawning. Okay, game 3 on the draw. Let's see what we can do. Actually, Spore Spawning pretty good. I will keep it. They're taking a while to sideboard. Wait a moment. If they're taking a while to sideboard, that might indicate they're doing the full transformational sideboard and they're bringing in their crucibles. In which case I don't want as many Spore Spawnings. I should hedge against that. Put in a cash. I should wait until I see them being done before I make my decisions. Because the length of time it takes them could be relevant to my decision. It's also possible I should be deciding out like Reapers and Aurors, my graveyard filling stuff, for Cash Thrashers just to be more aggressive. That's definitely a reasonable line I could be taking. They do probably a better late game for me if I don't cast a Spore Spawning. Even if at reanimation. Yeah, they're a black-red deck, but they do not have Advance of Fire and Faith in their sideboard. Which is very lucky for me. It's a really tough sideboarding puzzle. I don't know what the answer is. Also worth noting, they have no Fabricated Anomaly. Despite being a deck interested in discarding cards, no Fabricated Anomalies. Okay, they're clearly taking a long time to sideboard. There's a possibility they're doing the Game 3 sideboard juke. However, if I get stuck with a Sensor Tablet in hand while they have a Crucible out, I can maybe feed Sensor Tablet off the stuff that's already in the graveyard, or I can discard it to a Fabricated Anomaly. Not ideal. I think I want to keep I want to bring in Sensor Tablet, but keep the Spore Spawning plan. I think that's what my gut's telling me is the right solution. This is actually like a game theory situation. They can do the transformation sideboard or not. I can bring in Sensor Tablet or not. I can decide if it's Spore Spawning or not. And it's kind of a rock paper scissors thing, which is to say I don't know what the right answer is. It's probably like probabilistic is the equilibrium. Cash Treasure Fabric Anomaly is a pretty good combination. I'm gonna trim a Reaper of Blossoms for a Cash Thrasher. but a promo Cash Thrasher. So I'm going to be a little more aggressive in my 2-drop slot. So I want to trim a Roar. No, a Roar into Terminal Impact is still pretty good. I don't think they're bringing in Duress. So Terminal Impacts in hand are pretty good. Maybe I trim Avalanches? I could see the argument. I think I'm fine to run. I could also keep an Ishigami when it burns, by the way. I'm going to run it like this. I don't know if this is right. I mean, as I said, it's probably probabilistic um, and or mind games. But I think this is close enough. By the way, this Buffery Conservatory has been just nothing but bad for me this entire tournament. I really regret putting this card in my deck. I thought it like, I'm heavy green deck. I ramp sometimes. Buffery Conservatory seemed like a good idea. It's just never come up. I know. Thought it would. He's on the play. Good hand, please. This is not a good hand. This is 5 lands. It doesn't do anything until turn 3 and a mull to 6. Not ideal. Okay. 2 lands. 3 lands, effectively, because harvest time. 2 drops, couple of 3 drops. What do I put back? Is it Sensor Tablet? Is it Avalanche? Okay. I think I keep Forest Urban Jungle Harvest Time. I guess I'm on the draw. It's possible I put back Harvest Time, do turn 1 Sensor Tablet, and just pray that I draw a land in my first 3 draw steps. That's not an unreasonable way to play this. I could even hit one off the memory, although it's not ideal. Turn 1 Sensor Tablet, turn 2 Cash Thrasher, turn 3 Redeemer or Avalanche. Put back Harvest Time. I think it's Harvest Time or Sensor Tablet. Or Avalanche. I think it's one of these two. I have no graveyard fillings. The Harvest Time is just a tap land. Odds of hitting an untapped land of any untapped. Yeah, it has to be untapped land in my top 3 draw steps. Not bad. I think I play it like this. It's a mull to 6. I gotta take risks. Mountain, Ignited Soul. Wow, okay, immediately rewarded with my Forest Sensor Tablet. So they're going to get to filter their hand of Ignited Soul, but they won't be able to keep things in their graveyard very effectively between Sensor Tablet and Redeemer. Ignited Soul sculpting their hand is still pretty good, but I'm going to have to let that happen, at least for a couple turns. Maybe I catch it with an Avalanche at some point. But, turn 1 Sensor Tablet, turn 2 Cash Thrasher, turn 3 Redeemer. Not nothing. Discard Privilege Escalation. Okay, exile that. Swing. Okay, good to see one of those gone. Wow, nothing but lands. Nothing but lands. Primal Fissure for Mountain. Oh, by the way, this has one thing under it. No, not Meandering Path. Mountain. Play Cash Thrasher. Attack with it. Yeah. Sensor Tablet cares about the number of cards exiled with it, but not what they are. So I just put a counter on it to track that, because there might not end up being a lot of cards exiled with Sensor Tablet. Anyways, I exiled a Terminal Impact. I'm probably not using that. Basically, it matters if there are three. If once it gets to three, I'm going to stop tracking it because it stops mattering. If they discard to this, I will censor tablet in response to the next thing that happens, so they don't have a choice about what to exile. They have no instance, main or side, so I can always interacting with them on their end step is always safe. They also have double mountain, by the way, so they double mountain does matter because they have Final Fate and Reclaim the Fallen in their deck. They could discard Shigana Mana Burns. Certainly could. What are they thinking about? And they're thinking about Shigana Mana Burns trigger, is what they're thinking about. Discarding a Final Fate. So I'm going to exile that at earliest opportunity. They can't cast it. If they discard Final Fate and could cast it, they would have an opportunity to cast it before I could Censor Tablet it. Because how priority works. But they're not going to get to do that. Yeah, just waiting for next time I get priority. They had a Swamp and another Shigana Mana Burns. I think currently I'm fine just letting this Ignited Soul exist. Instead of avalanching it, just playing a Redeemer. Rough Rider, respond. No, respond to Rough Rider. Kill your Final Fate. Stop that. Rough Rider exiles United Soul, which they leave in exile and get a treasure token. They're building a ramp to nowhere. Might Avalanche next turn? No, probably just Redeemer, except I don't get a Cash Thrasher attack that turn. I mean, with me cutting off their graveyard, yeah, I guess they could final. They don't have then quad black. They could Final Fate Cash Thrasher, Final Fate Redeemer before I have a chance to Censor Tablet it, because none of my stuff has death triggers. Maybe these avalanches were bad to keep in. Come to think of it, their creatures all have 1 and 3 toughness, so it's highly likely I get the 2-for-1 off of this. And I trimmed discard out with Shigana Mana Burns, and I would like to discard this sometimes. Could be true. Could be true. They're thinking on something, possibly something to cast with these treasures. Could be another Final Fate on my Cash Thrasher. They're going to attack me with Ignited Soul. Let it happen. They're thinking on discard. Discard a Terminal Impact. Well, I'm glad to see that gone. I'm not counting cards in exile yet, but that could certainly become a concern this game. Killing Rough Rider, for example, with Avalanche, could allow them to put 2 cards into their graveyard. Rough Rider itself plus a card discarded. Oh, okay. They crack a card to play a Slink. That makes this Avalanche seem much more appealing. Although it does mean that, like, okay, if I did Avalanche Soul Rooftop Slink, they don't have a discard outlet in play. So I'm kind of safe from reanimation for a turn anyways. I draw Anomaly. Anomaly's really good here. Anomaly, well, you can give my Cash Rider a +1/+1 counter so I can attack through Rough Rider. But I think with them down to 1 card in hand, I'd like to just Avalanche 2 of their creatures. Stops them from setting things up. Anomaly and Redeemer, those can wait. I'd like to prevent, like, these things from becoming problems. Is that true? What's my other option? Redeemer? Exile Terminal Impact? Or Fabricated Anomaly? Discard, probably Urban Jungle. Attack for cash with Cash Pressure for 3. No, they're low enough on cards here that I'm fine doing things a little slow here. Maybe that's wrong. And I should have done this first. Not that any of these cards matter, but I shouldn't have given them the choice. It doesn't mean they have more options for Redeemer. Okay, they exiled the terminal effect anyways. It really just matters about which counters they get from which benefits I get from my Redeemer. Start combat. Not attacking of Cash Thrasher. And could they reanimate this turn? No. They not from 2 cards in hand, no reanimation pieces in graveyard. And 2 mountains in play. I take my 2. I'm going to take a little bit of damage, go to 11 here, possibly off Audacious Rough Rider. But I think that my aggro plan is generally a lot better than theirs. So I'm not that concerned. And okay, now there's 2 removal spells in exile, Purge Escalation. Yeah, I should start thinking about like dying to terminal impacts if my life total gets too low. So like not anytime soon. 2 terminal impacts maybe could be a thing. I might start making 1/1s with Redeemer and chumping the Rough Rider with them. That might be kind of what we're doing for life. Yeah. If they don't attack, I'm probably Fabricated Anomaly to get through Cash Thrasher. If they do attack, it's probably Redeemer to make a blocker. Take my 3. What do they got as the follow-up? Another Shigana burns. Oh, yeah, so these are going to be a clock, and their last card is Temple of Origins. Okay, kind of surprised they played that, meaning because that means that next turn, if they draw a good card that they want to keep, they might be forced to discard it to second chapter of this Shigana burns. Draw Spore Spawning. That's great. That's going to get discarded to Fabric Anomaly at some point, although there's no rush. It's only for 1 right now. So it's Redeemer here. It's Redeemer. Redeemer. Make self a 1/1. They could theoretically draw Privilege Escalation, like for their draw step, discard the Shigana Mana Burns, and then off the 2 they exile, hit exactly Reclaim the Fallen. Yeah, that would be bad, but I can't, like, play around that. Okay, there's a forest under there. And I should exile this, because, fewer choices for them is better. And I am chumping this with this soldier at this point. Because, like, I'm actually feeling pretty comfy right here. Because they get a treasure token, but I'm just going to try to keep myself out of range of future terminal impacts. They discarded Shigami Burns. Shigami Burns hit Privileged Escalation Temple of Origins. So they're just going to do a fat lot of nothing this turn. They're going to attack with Rough Rider, going to block with Soldier, and they're just going to accomplish nothing else this turn. It's going to be great. They're going to play Temple of Origin. They can't play anything else. By the way, this is what I said about them playing Temple of Origin last turn. If they didn't play it, they would have not discarded. They would have discarded Temple instead of Shigana Mana Burns, and then you get to play Shigana Mana Burns this turn instead of a nothing. Okay, I am going to die in some number of turns Shigana Mana Burns, and faster if they draw a terminal impact. Terminal impact is for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 right now, so I should kill them with some reasonable haste. Also fun, if they exile a card off Audacious Rough Rider that they want, they can't keep it. I could even block with Redeemer. I could block with Redeemer. Just to get the trade-off right now. They just get a treasure off this, like they can't discard anything to keep anything. Redeemer is going to become a 4/4 next turn, though. Okay, let's start doing some combat math. I block with Soldier. I keep these. Next turn, Fabricated Anomaly. I get to attack for 6, putting them to 9. Turn after that, I get to attack for... what? I'm still not close lethal. I block with Redeemer. Next turn, I get to attack for... what, 2 cards in graveyard. And I probably want to keep the Avalanche, so it's still only... it's 4 instead of 6. No, it's not 6. Wait, because I get the counter on the Redeemer, probably. I think it's this. Oh, Wander Rough Rider. I forgot about Wander Rough Rider. That is very fine. Because that's just pay 4 mana, make... because, like, that just exiles 2 cards from your deck and make... They spent 2 treasures to make 2 treasures. Because you can't keep that. You have no cards in hand to discard. That gets exiled. Yeah. Oh, right. No. Oops. Okay, that wasn't meant to be exiled off the top of their library. Um... I think what happens is they just shuffle that into their deck. I don't think they know any contents. Okay, well, let's see. That's 2 privilege escalations down, 1 terminal impact down. Those are the relevant cards. 1 final fate down. I think this just gets shuffled into their deck. Sorry, judge call. Okay. I think Scribble's awake, but if no judges are awake, we might just go with what Ricky says. I'm fairly certain what happens is we just shuffle Reclaim back into their deck and keep playing. I get to, yeah. Fabric Anomaly means I hit for 7 Cash Flasher plus Redeemer. Next turn, they should have 2 treasures, by the way, because the second Rough Rider trigger should make them a treasure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So next turn I get pinged down to 9 by one of the Shiganimenter burns. So I'm not dead to terminal. If they hit terminal impact off the next Shiganimenter burns, I am actually pretty close to being dead. Am I going to be one off lethal? I could seriously be one off lethal because of Fabricated Anomaly. Hits them for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hit them for this is gonna be 4 power. This is gonna be 3 power after Anomaly discard. That's 7. But then I have to block with Anomaly to prevent myself from dying to Rough Rider. Yeah, that's tapped. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 damage. Oh wait, they untapped Rough Rider. That's what happened. Yeah, basically what they did, they untapped Rough Rider there. Although it doesn't have any good blocks this turn, anyways. Draw Reaper of Blossoms. Okay. I want to play Fabricated Anomaly, and I should also play this Forest, I guess, because it's free. Okay, let's first things first. Exile your Shiganimenter burns. Yeah, wait. We're playing. We should exile that. I'm being ridiculous. Okay. Pay 2 mana. Play Forest. I can't play 2 spells this turn anyway, so I should at least get my free Forest. Fabricating Anomaly. Puzzle Box. Discard Reaper of Blossoms. Draw a card. Harvest Time. That's actually relevant. For a weird reason. Start of combat. Redeemer trigger. Attack. Exile these 2 permanent cards to make this a 3/3 first strike. Cash the top card of my library. The Redeemer, okay. Blocks. Presumably no blocks, take 7. What I'm hoping is that they do not find a terminal impact in the top 3 cards of their deck, which, to be fair, I've only seen one of them. I have a 3/3 first strike and a 4/4 coming in, so they don't have good blocks. Theoretically, they could block with Rough Rider just for the treasure. Treasure is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, they could block just for the treasure. If they do that, then I take 2 off Shiganimenter burns, and they get one. They get to look at 3 cards. Draw step plus 2 off Shiganimenter burns, and if any of them are terminal impact, I do lose. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 off the treasure, plus 2. So they have 3 copies presumably of terminal impact in 41 cards. So roughly 1 in 1 in 14 to hit. But they get 3 looks, so about 1 in 5, call it. If they block here, they give themselves pretty much exactly a 1 in 5 chance to win the game. Otherwise, they're pretty dead. Because I think I have lethal the following turn. What if they don't block? Then maybe they could survive if they draw Final Fate. I suppose they block. They block Redeemer. They only take 3, go to 12. They don't find Terminal Impact. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They're not dead on the following turn either. I don't have the damage. Yeah, it's scary, but I don't know. I didn't really have a way to prevent myself from taking this damage. The damage they got me to 11 here. I just have to hope they don't find Terminal Impact in the next few cards of their deck. That's really what this game is going to come down to. They're really. I think no blocks. Okay, they take their 7 going 8. The thing is, like, Terminal Impact kills me whether I block, whether they hit me for Rough Rider or not. It kills from 11 just as easily kills me from 8. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the good news is, if they find Terminal Impact right now, I actually just don't die. Discard Swamp. Survey says just 2 lands. Yeah, 2 lands. So they can wander the Rough Rider. They can attack with the Rough Rider and they can wander it. Fortunately, my only life gain is Reaper, and I exiled the Reaper last turn. Possibly I shouldn't have done that. Well, quite possible. I am probably chumping with Anomaly here. Just for this 3? Is that true? Here's the argument in favor of not doing it. What is being at 9 different from being at 6? Their only burn is Terminal Impact, and they have 9 mana for Terminal Impacts right now. So I die to a Terminal Impact at. I die while I'm like, being at 6 does not make me any closer to dying than being at 9. Right? Yeah. And they're gonna wander this thing. And they're gonna have a 3/3 blocker for my 3 attackers. I don't want a treasure off of my Redeemer. I want a +1/+1 counter to force them to block it, if possible. Yes. I just take 3, right? What is being at 6 different from being at 9? Having Fabric Anomaly in play for an extra turn is good. I might make Sports Bonding tokens next turn. Yeah. Yeah. They only get 1 draw next turn, by the way, because neither of these. Because I take 3, I go to 6. Shigana Matter Burns takes over 4. Whatever. They don't have burn from 4 any more than 6 or 9. I just take 3. Yeah. They're going to play a Swamp and wander Rough Rider, making 50 more treasures or whatever. They're going to have so much mana, but they have 1 more draw for Terminal Impact, I think. Which, to be fair, come on, just show me 2 Terminal Impacts. That's a Swamp. Terminal Impact. Another Swamp. Okay, it's getting more likely now. 3 out of 36, so that 1 in 12, but they only get 1 draw, not 3 draws. Eat that Swamp. Terminal Impact. Primal Fissure. Okay, so if I. Let me think this through. If they draw Terminal Impact, can I kill them this turn? If Cash Thrasher hits Terminal Impact, or if Puzzle Box hits Terminal Impact, yes, I do. Because I can get Fabric Anomaly 2, 3 power, hit them. Okay, so they. For your Uniform, that's going to be a 5/5. So they can't block Anomaly. They have to block my other 2 creatures, probably Redeemer then. So they're going to take 5, go to 3. It means they die to Avalanche off the top from Puzzle Box or from Cast Thrasher, or Terminal Impact. Is there anything else I could draw? I could crack Sensor Tablet by exiling my own Avalanche. If I miss off those things. Oh, this is so weird. Okay, let me think. I think I have my thing that minimizes the chances of me dying here. I am going to Puzzle Box first. If Puzzle Box misses, we attack. I don't exile cards to Fabricate Anomaly because having one card under Anomaly and having putting them because they block Redeemer either way, taking 5 going to 3 and taking 6 going to 2 are the same things. 3 and 2 are the same life total. Means all my creatures. And they can't block Anomaly enemy because they die. If I don't hit off of Puzzle Box and I don't hit off the cache, I crack Sensor Tablet, hitting my own Avalanche. I want to get a creature in play to block Rough Rider for weird scenarios. Best way of doing that is just to discard Spore Spawning to the Puzzle Box. I can flashback for a couple of blockers. Discard Spore Spawning, draw a card. Aurora! Interesting. I don't think Aurora does much. Start of combat, Redeemer trigger. Pump it up. Okay, they're forced to chump block with Rough Rider here. Yep, they block. Just show me Terminal off the top here. Show me Terminal off the top here. Anomaly, okay. Take your 5. Oh, it's an escalation. Okay, that's not anything. Take your 5, go to 3. Well, they have no attackers, so there's no reason for me to make a blocker. I'm going to Sensor Tablet my own Avalanche. My own Avalanche? My own Spore Spawning. No, my own Avalanche. Wait, no, wait. Not... I'm being an idiot. That one. I'm going to heal that one. Exile your Rough Rider. I draw 2 cards. Neither of those are... Neither of them are a burn spell, which is annoying. What do I do? A cycle Meandering Path, I guess? Play Primal Fissure? Oh, right. Forgot about that. That's exile forever. I guess I can't get back Avalanche this turn. I have no untapped land for Spore Spawning. I guess I just cycle this Meandering Path to another Spore Spawning. Play Harvest Time for hand. Grab a Forest. Okay. They get 1 draw for Terminal Impact. I was unable to deny them 1 draw for Terminal Impact. Okay. 3 in 35. About 1 in 11 for the Terminal Impact here. If they got it, they got it. I think I maximized my odds there. What? Why? You have a chapter 3 and a chapter 1, not a chapter 2. Well, they missed anyways. No, they get a treasure, and yep, that's it. Boom! We move on from bad Mythplay game 1, came back with some tight games 2 and 3, and we are moving on. Ricky will not be getting a second win in a row here. And we are moving on to face our spectator here. I see you lurking down there in the bottom right. I see you, Lih, our next opponent. See you guys later. Good night.